every time I creep back towards the 290, that's when I know I got to stop eating. Like, period. It's not like I go on a diet. It's like I just got to stop eating for like a day. And I go back to 280, and it's not good, okay? That's just where I got to be. We got any 1AA guys in here right now? We got 1AA? Well, they don't call it 1AA anymore. Football, yeah, FCS. Where'd you go? Come on, man. Look at Montana. I don't know if you guys knew that. I went to the University of Montana, right? So I'm like, everybody's always talking about Power Fives. I'm like, they got nothing on us, okay? I'm like, we actually know each other. We're cool. No, listen, what's cool, I'm sitting here talking back here with a couple of you guys, and like, just the spirit of the room as I come in here is really awesome right now. So, who was it? Somebody was commenting about how you guys have had one practice so far, and you guys were vibing like really well together. And so, and I'm like, what are you talking about? These dudes have been taking reps for like their whole life playing ball. They can come in here with somebody new and play together. And so I just love it because this is locker room to me, right? Like, this is a sacred place to me. And so I know the same thing coming into this, like what you guys are putting into this. You put your soul, you put your sweat, everything goes into your life at this point right now. And so it's this kind of crazy transition place to be coming into. There's a lot of excitement, new people you're meeting, agents trying to rep you, whatever, trying to, different positions you're trying to gain. So like, I'm nervous for you, like, for real. And because I remember coming into that, I was just a guy that completely backdoored his way into the NFL, okay? I was not anything special coming out of Montana. I did 15 reps on the bench, all right? I ran like a 5'2", 40, and it was 6'4", 305 when I weighed it. And when I went coming in here, and they were like, okay, cool, that's okay, right? Just some small guy. And my agents, they were like, you are very average. That's what they called me. I'm like, what am I? My measurables, all this. You are very average. I'm like, sweet, thanks. That makes me stand and feel good above everybody else. And so, and then you come into the league and meet guys like Leonard Davis, who is a 350-pound solid rock, and who can run just as fast as you, or if not more, and then make 17 Pro Bowls, and you just meet men when you come into the league, okay? So, bring up this first picture of my family. I want to give you a little background. This is first rule of thumb. When you guys are taking pictures, you surround yourself with somebody that's prettier than you, okay? When you, on a scale of 1 to 10, when you're about a 5, you got to surround yourself with 10s to elevate the perception that you are now an 8, okay? So I look good in this picture. All right, this is my wife, Megan. She has the biggest heart ever, but she will stab you in the throat if she needs to, okay? And if some of you guys have women in your lives, your mom is like that, all right? These ladies started nodding their head when I said that, because they were like, yes, I love you, and I will kill you without hesitating, okay? This is our 6-year-old daughter, Grace. Best thing in the world. I'm going to share a cool story at the end of this about her. She has a huge heart. I actually take her into the weight room with me. I have a garage gym, and I have her lift weights with me because she is going to rip the balls out of some dude when she needs to, okay? I am the second line of defense. She is the first. I need her to be able to rip those testicles right out of the dude's body in case she needs to do that, all right? This last guy right here, this is Hank, which is the best name ever. Megan is still on the fence about it. Hank is our 15-month-old boy right now, and we named him on purpose because Hank is actually a diminutive of my dad's name, John. And so John, if you guys if any have named John or get named by it, maybe your dad was, John actually means God is gracious. And so we lost my nephew. My brother lost his son. His name was Evan. Evan is a diminutive of John, which means the same thing. So I wanted some sort of tie there. So that's why we named Hank the way he is. Plus, you can growl when you say his name, right? Like when you say Hank, nobody says it like, oh, Hank. You know, you say Hank. That's what it is. The dude that can fix your car, you can have a beer with, right? You can do all these things. It's on purpose, okay? But I know, it's amazing. I love it. He's destroying the world right now. Like everybody, like you think people's incomes went down in the pandemic like this last year. or people's spending went down because they stayed home a bunch. No, mine went up. I added a fourth member of the family, and the dude wants to destroy everything in the house. And my dog hates him, and it's crazy, okay? My dog is about 13 years old, Cocker Spaniel. He doesn't care about anything anymore and just decides to take craps all over the house. And it's frustrating sometimes, I got to be honest. And I'm venting right now because I got a lot of this energy that's going on inside of me. So I appreciate it. Thank you. But I want to talk to you guys today. Something kind of like God's put on me in a big way, and this is part my journey. This is part a lot of things. As you guys are coming in right now, I got this talk. I call it "Born a Boy, Becoming a Man." Right? And the thing is a lot of us, right? We're born into this baby place, man. And there's so many guys. And how many of you guys know this? There's so many guys that are supposed to segue into becoming a man, but we got a lot of grown boys right now. You guys know what I'm talking about? A lot of boys, a lot of men, they're supposed to be men. Guys that are older that act like a little baby constantly. And they don't stick to the word, right? You can shake their hand, they'll just turn their back on you. And there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on in the world. And so that's kind of, from my small group at church, this is where this message was born a little bit, and it's kind of a crazy place. But like as I was coming up, I'm originally middle of three boys. My folks split when we were early on, about 9 years old, so I moved around a lot. I went to 7 different schools in a 4-year time period, and until we landed in Gig Harbor, Washington in 7th grade, and that's where we lived with my mom and my stepdad for a while, and so now we got a big mixed family, a bunch of stepsisters and brothers, and then ended up finding a gift in my first invite to play football, and so that was a pretty big deal. In 7th grade, my first invite, ended up finding a pretty big gift, and to be honest, a pretty big family, because in that turmoil that was going on in my life, that ended up being a safe haven for me. And I don't know if you guys have been through some of that. But that was coaches in my life became like father figures to me, right? So those guys could speak into my life in big ways, where I was just kind of this quiet fat kid, and like I went deep into that bag of Doritos. Okay, I still do. If any of you guys have never heard of Nothing Bundt Cake, don't go there, because I've eaten an entire one myself. Right? This is before they had the little Buntlets and Buntini things. He's laughing because he knows. All right. They got different levels of sizes of these things. It's a bundt cake. Nothing Bundt Cakes. If you Google it, you'll eat your phone, okay? And I'm telling you, so this is one of the guys. When I was here with the Cowboys, Mark Colombo, his wife, because I was a single guy at the time, she felt sorry for me, which I appreciate women that feel sorry for guys, because you guys should be felt sorry for. You guys need some attention sometimes. And she dropped off the original bundt cake at my house one time, this giant chocolate vanilla monster of heaven, and I threw it away 3 times, and I still finished it all. And I justified it because it was my trash, okay? And I'm like, it's my trash. I can eat my own trash. It's fine. All right? But this is how your boy works right now. So this feeds like 11 people, all right? And I ate all of it. I tweeted it one time, and Nothing Bundt Cake responded back, "You got to treat yourself sometimes." And I'm like, it serves 11. There's no person that needs to eat that entire thing, okay? So this is a struggle that I've had my entire life. All right, I'm just saying. I'm betting a little bit. But I come into this place, and I'm thankful for the segue that I've had, because I come into the league. I've had amazing people in my life that could build me, that build character, they could build this work ethic, they could build a team member, even in places where I was destructive to myself. They could call me out. This is why I love the locker room, right? Like, dude can punch you in the face, you punch each other in the face, and you're like best friends the next second. Like, it's the most screwed up relationship in the world, right? This is like abusive type relationships, but we love it. That's how screwed up we are in the head. And I love it because you come into this place, and then I gained a faith in a big way, but it gives me a ton of different revelation about my life, and essentially made a huge consumer. Like, this is where I became a reader. This is where I wanted to hear people talk. I want to hear my pastors. I want to hear people's stories. Iron sharpens iron. It's all about hearing your testimony, like where you came from and how that affects me in a big way that transfers power. And this, essentially, from all that consumption, is where all of a sudden my cup was overflowing. And I'm like, I didn't really have much to say before, but all of a sudden I got a whole bunch of puke just coming right out of my mouth. And you guys just happen to be the poor suckers that are getting it right now, okay? But I'm coming into this, and so what this story, or what this born a boy and becoming a man is about, is basically us segueing into a place where we're supposed to be in this world. Like every single one of us have a purpose. If you're not aware of that, you absolutely have it. I'll tell you right now, you have a purpose specifically for you. You are created men and women specifically for that purpose, because you are to influence other men in your regard, in the very spot that you're sitting right now, in a powerful way. And I'm an example of that, right? God's given me that power. He's given you that power. He's given us a powerful thing to do, including my wife, to move me and challenge me in crazy ways. And so a big thing that was kind of catalyst for this talk was last year during the shutdown. I told you, middle three boys. My oldest brother, Clay, who's crazy. We fought like crazy. I don't know if anybody of you guys fought your brothers, but we beat each other up. I was a crybaby, okay? I won that. Like he was like, I did too. Yeah. Hey, middle child's the best. What's the best part of the Oreo? The frosting. The best part of the sandwich? The meat. Okay? That's the best, man. Come on, see, he knows. All right? But what happened, all right, what happened this last year was my oldest nephew, Austin, he's trying to figure things out, right? He's 22 right now. He went to college for a semester, dropped out, got a job. He's just been living at home, he's playing games a bunch, got a girlfriend. And so there's a lot of different things right now, but he's not. And so my older brother, Clay, he's trying to move him out, trying to get him moving in life. Like, you need to get this job, get more hours, get a lot of different things. And nothing was really happening, right? And so ultimately what ended up happening was Clay told him, he's like, he gave him a deadline. He goes, June 1st, get your affairs in order. He goes, if you're not ready, all your stuff will be on the curb. And I don't know if you guys have been through that, but that is not a place a father and a mother wants to be with their kid. Right? They do not want that. So you can imagine the emotions that are taking place with him. I gotta tell my firstborn boy to get out. And mom is sitting here like crying because there's no way. She just doesn't want to like shove you out the door. They want to hold you and love you like crazy, right? But this happens. So it comes and goes. He gets an apartment. And what was really cool about this was, like Brandon talked about, I started my own wealth management firm. I was good with my money, playing in the league. Thank goodness, right? I had good guys around me to influence me in that way and learn me up in a big way. Well, what was neat was Austin calls me like a couple months later, and he goes, hey, I just need to talk to you. And I'm like, what's going on, man? He goes, I didn't realize this money thing was such a big deal. So when you start paying your own bills, you start laughing, right? I'm like, really? You wait till that first paycheck. You see the taxes taken out of that. You're really going to like the government. But he tells me, and I start laughing. I'm like, okay. And we start going through some different things about his budget. And like, all right, you pick like this. You eat peanut butter and jelly, noodles and noodles for the next 3 years. All right? And you're going to have some friends fall off. And he started talking about it. He's like, man. He goes, you're right, because, I was supposed to go back. My friends wanted me to go back party at school, but I'm like, man, it's going to be like $150 if I go do that, because I'm going to spend and I'm on all these different things and gas, and I don't want to do that. I can't eat at my favorite restaurants anymore because I don't have the money living at home like I did, and I'm like, it's good. And what was happening was this guy was realizing the weight of his own problems, right? How many guys know if you're taking care of his problems, he ain't got no problems, right? You got to feel the weight of your problems. And that's what was going on when Austin was living at home, was Clay and his mom and dad were taking care of the problems, so he didn't have it. So we needed to allow him to feel his own problems. And what happens in that is all of a sudden he's got a deal, faced with it, and you start seeing him walking right into it. And that was the coolest thing. And now he starts asking better questions, like, what do I do with this? Good question. Right? And so what's cool is he starts naturally segueing and taking steps into this manhood role that he's supposed to have. And that's the tough thing to do because not a lot of people will do it. And I want to give you an example. Like, this is a real problem, okay? There's even a Pew Research study. You can hit the next slide there. There's a Pew Research study that was in 2017 or 16 here, and it studied a bunch of different things about people, but young adults, ages 18 to 34, right? And what they found was 35% of young men were still living with their parents. This is almost double the number it was in 1964. All right? I love my parents. I love like crazy. I'm not going back to live with them. All right? Not unless I absolutely have to. It's a dire situation. But I want to be my own man. All right? I love them. But God's called me to a way bigger place right now than staying in a household where I grew up as a boy. Right? And so what's happening right now, some of you guys might notice, is as we're the you can call it whatever you want, coddling, right? People are overseeing you, they're trying to do it. And you guys have had a lot of that, and we get that in the NFL where our whole schedule is mapped out for us. Everything is catered to us, right? This is a big part of Brandy's job and the PR firm right here is they want to cater to you to allow you guys to focus on football and do a lot of those things. That's great, okay? But the problem is, if we never actually leave our parents' house, we're staying a boy. When we're called to be in a place of a man, and we're supposed to be becoming this man that ultimately God's got for us, it begs the question, like, where in your life are you still a boy? Right? And I was just telling these guys, I have these moments of fear even that jumps into my life that I realized these were points where I'm like, I would divert attention away from a situation or potential scenario that might be explosive in my life, but I would divert because I would get this little slice of fear just because I hadn't dealt with it before, right? And so I'd turn away and I would just kind of stay in this boy place in my life. And what I realized, the kind of revelation that I got in my faith walk in a big way, was that when you're called out of the place from where your parents have you on purpose and you step into the world for what God got for you in that, you end up stepping into a role that you are supposed to be explosive in. Right? And that's not just physically on the football field, but that is spiritually and soulfully in your seat right now in the community that you're walking into. This is huge. This is why I love walking into a good spirit in this room right now, because I know it's happening. Right? And so, but this is a big issue, right? Why do we do that? It's easy. It's easy to sit at home. It's easy to be, I imagine, I don't know about you guys, when I got hurt, I played a lot of Halo, okay? A whole lot of Halo, and I talked to the 14-year-old kids, and they were like, dude, are you like 50 years old playing this video game? I got the little headset on, I'm like, no! Ma, give me the Tostitos pizza rolls! I'm 14, I'm just overdeveloped. And just start talking bad trash, right? That's funny. These guys are hilarious, just to crack up. But the thing is, I picture this kid, you know, where your dad or your mom's like, or maybe whoever raised you, they're like, hey, let's go, we gotta go. And you're like, no, hold on, I'm staying right here, right? I'm comfortable, food's provided for me, people are taking care of me right now, I'm good. I get it. But when somebody's trying to call you, like, no, I got something bigger for you coming out right now that you don't realize, even though you might be feeling good right here, I got something a whole lot bigger if you step into this thing right now. And so this is what started happening in my life in a big way, and it's a big issue that we have that this study even proves or shows is if we constantly stay in this place, in this boyhood mentality where we grew up, we're never stepping into the man of God that we're supposed to be, right? And I don't want to throw a ton of faith at you guys, because some of you guys might not like that, but that's where I'm coming from. I just want to be real with you a little bit, okay? But we do this, and the real reason we do that is because we're scared of that moment a lot of times. We're scared of what can be in that moment. It might be something we don't know how to deal with it, right? And that's a lot of times we can manifest that in different ways. It might be anger, it might be emotion. I told you I was a crybaby. It still comes at times, okay? Just get it off the bat, all right? I got your hair is just screaming at me right now. Do you ever watch The Simpsons?
You know.
I don't know. You know Sideshow Bob? You ever? You know. I know. He just screams at me right now. Listen, they talk about my childhood right now. Come on, Bart. I love it. But it screams to this place, right? If we're sitting there staying in this place. And why I want to talk to you guys about this, because I want you to be intentional when you're walking into this next step. Okay? Because there's going to be times in transition where you don't know what to do. But I want you guys to run face first into this. There's going to be times when you step into this where you think your coach is against you. Probably already have some of that. But I want you to step into that on purpose because he's not, I promise. And those times where I realize that he's not, that he wants to win as much as I want, I realize I got to be on his team before he could be on mine. Right? These are some powerful moments that I want you guys to get, because the enemy's going to poke these ideas in your head like he's against me. Right? This guy's against me. He's not against you. No, he's worth fighting for just as much as I am. Right? His family's worth fighting for just as much as mine is. Right? He's trying to make it just like mine is. These are guys worth fighting for, even if you guys are new to each other. Right? I know you're competing with each other, but compete for each other at the same time. This is a powerful place to be, because when you come into this transition, even though it might be rocky, you might not be making the right move every single time. I don't care. Make a move. Keep moving. It's a powerful place to be, okay? And so I said I'll give you an example story going into, I got some points I want to give to you that I think practically are really good. But an example story, before I come into this, as I'll tell you, so like I played in Detroit. I was on the practice squad, went undrafted there my first year, 2005. And coach cut me and I cried. All right, it's probably going to happen for a lot of you guys. All right, I cried like a little baby. That's what it is. And but they put me on the practice squad. We were awful. We were a horrible football team. 2005. Our head coach ended up getting fired to Steve Mariucci. I love the guy still. We got little Moosh, come on baby. He's awesome, but we were an awful football team. We got smoked by Atlanta on Thanksgiving Day. The next day he got let go. The next Tuesday night, the Dallas Cowboys picked me up. So we want to pick you up. I was here the last 5 games, and I was here 2006, 7, 8, 9, and went to Miami in 10. Well, we had a coaching change. So I had Bill Parcells and I had Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips brought in Hudson Houck, a new offensive line coach, because my old coach, Tony Sperano, went to the Miami Dolphins, the head coach. Old Tony. He's a man. Looks the Italian mafia, this guy. Right? But my new O-line coach, Hudson Houck, was kind of a legend name. He's a great name. He came in as a new guy, and we're in training camp, and our starting left guard, I'd always been the swing guard center at this point, right? Our starting left guard was Kyle Kocher. He gets hurt the third preseason game. Ankle, needs surgery, 8 weeks gone. So I'm sitting here like, ready to go, right? I can get some starting time. I only started a couple games at 7 the year before that. And so what was neat is we come out the next day for walkthrough, and Coach grabs Pat McQuiston and Joe Berger, 2 other guys that were on the team, right before we go into the 4th preseason game, right before cuts, right? And he grabs them and starts talking with them. I don't know about you, you ever been in a situation where like the boss is talking to somebody else about the job that you feel like is yours, and you're like, whoa, hold on, right? And you know that place where you're like, this guy, no, this ain't right, you don't know me, right? This is my job. What are you talking to him for? And so this started filling me up, okay? And what was neat was, okay, we stop the walkthrough, we go into shower. This is a Monday, so our day is pretty much done at this time. And you guys, so I'm sitting there in my locker, and I'm like, I'm getting hot right now, sitting there thinking about this. Here's what happens. This is a critical moment right now. What happens in these moments, most people, including a lot of guys in the league, especially in training camp, they walk out the door and they never talk to coach about it. Nothing ever happens. And because of that, you've just left 0 impact on the room. That's a pretty sad place to be, okay? So I sat there for a minute thinking about it, and I'm like an idiot, you know. I look like a fool in this whole step process, I promise. But I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go talk to this guy. So I go into the coach's offices and knock on the door, right? And I say, hey coach, can I talk to you for a minute? He said, yeah, Cory, come on in. And I come in, I sit down, and I go, hey, I'm just going to be straight up. I think that left guard spot is mine. And yeah, kind of he sits back like, what are you talking about? And I go, I know you're talking to the other guys, but I think that spot is mine. And he goes, well, you're my backup center. He goes, you get hurt. You get hurt at guard, who's going to be my backup center? I go, I appreciate you, coach. and I respect that, but I'm not going to get hurt, which we all know is a total lie. I can't predict that at all. But I'm going to say what I got to say because I'm going to start this game, right? And he kind of sits back and he goes, well, and I hadn't taken any guard reps, and I just had to remind him, like, I came into it as a guard, and I'd taken all these center reps and all that. And so he goes, okay. Well, all right, well, thanks for bringing this to my attention. He goes, let me do this. I'll tell Coach. This is Wade Phillips at the time. He goes, I'll tell Coach, and we're going to take a look at these guys too, but I'm going to follow up with you after that. I said, cool. I appreciate it, because I just want a place at the table. I want a shot. Okay, I want my name in the hat. And I said, okay, we go out. So we go into that 4th preseason game. The other 2 guys get all the reps at guard. All of them. I played the whole game at center. And easy, I could still sit in this spot where I didn't get any reps. This is garbage. I can go in this place where I didn't even get a shot. I didn't get this, none of it, right? But I went and I played hard and played with my brothers like I always do, as much as I could. And what was neat is we go through cuts. They keep all 3 of us. And the next Monday, they haven't said anything to anybody at this point. We still go through a couple more meetings, and we come out Monday, ready for practice, and Wade Phillips, our head coach, walks out and says, hey, Cory, you're going to start this week at Cleveland. I'm like, right, I'm going to start. And all of a sudden, this freaking lightning bolt of fear rolls down your spine, like now I got to back up what I said I was going to do in the first place. I'm like, geez. What was so awesome was all of a sudden I got the opportunity. I went and made about 180 grand in extra in pay to play, just like that. Got a ton of extra film out there for the league to see. Got a lot of great opportunities, played well, did some good things, did some bad things too, okay, I promise that. But I did some good things. And what's so neat about that is I think of like what possibly could have not happened if I didn't gone and talked to Coach that day. Like what if I cowered and went away and just went and showered and went home and complained about it to my buddy or whoever was willing to listen to me complain and not do anything to hold me accountable. You guys know what I'm talking about? This is a huge place, and this is why I want you guys to see these are specific moments where we're like, no, I'm not going to be a boy and walk away from this. I'm not going to run away from my problem. I got a problem. I want to go deal with it head on. And if we go deal with those now, it's got to be in a respectful manner. I couldn't be coming in there just like, Coach, that's my spot, and get all ticked off at him, right? But I kind of come into this, and I got to come respectful. I got to deal with him the right way because he's on my team just as much as I'm on his. And if I do that, man, you have no idea what kind of power you start unleashing in those situations. And it could have just not done it. Easily could have not started those games. Easily could have been all of that, right? But I tell you what, I guarantee I wouldn't have had a shot if I didn't go in there. Big time. It's a huge thing. And so I sit here and think about it. Okay, what does this represent? This represents us, our masculinity coming into this place. Our masculinity coming in as men. Right? We're built for these dark places. We're built for these times of confusion, for this coronavirus, for the racial divide that's going on in our country right now. We're built for this. People cower away a lot of times. We're built for this. I'm thankful that for the time that I came in, I basically went to Abercrombie and Fitch for high school. Okay? I went to that. We didn't have a lot of black guys on my team in Montana. Right? All of them were on football and the basketball team. And then I get to Detroit. Come on. And all of a sudden, I'm a minority. You think that's not a place God wants me to be? Yeah. Even went to an all-black club after we beat Green Bay in the Super Bowl. No joke. Two buddies on the team. Like, you want to go to the club tonight? Like, yeah, sure. Halfway there, I go, hey, I'm in that. By the way, this is an all-black club. Okay? All right. I laugh because we get in the club, there's 2 white chicks walk by me and look me up and down. Like, I'm like, what? 2 white chicks look at me. Everybody else is cool, but you guys are the weird ones. But this is a powerful place, right? I just say yes to some opportunities that God's got for me. It's so cool. And I didn't even realize what's happening right now, but my world is exploding with opportunity, with experience, with all kinds of good things for me, right? Plans that are prospering me and not to harm me at all. This is a huge deal. And I sit here and think about this, and like when we are built for this, how do we do it? It sounds good, right? It sounds good, like Cory, be a man, all these different things, but we don't actually go through practically what are some things that make up being a man. And so this is, I got a few points I want to share with you, and that's it. how do we do that? Like, how do we fight? How do we fight to keep stepping to become a man? You never fully arrive at that. That's a never-stopping process, right? If you think you're perfect, I tell you what, the world's going to crash down at some point, and we got to be ready for that, right? This is a never-stop developing. I'm always learning, always something from somebody else that I can get a piece from, and get a piece of that spirit from. So I got just a few points I want to share before we close this out, before we take some questions. How do we do that? How do we fight to become this man? Number one, know what you're about. I'm going to tell you what, there's a big reason why we have so much fighting going on in this country right now. Is because we have a plethora of people that have zero foundation on their life. And so anything, any belief, any perception, anything can get thrown at you, and all of a sudden you're believing lies of the enemy. And you're like, how can people believe some of these things, right? And it's because they have no foundation. And this is what I'll tell you. I'll give you an example. If you're one of these guys, if I can ask you, tell me 3 things definitively about your life that you are sitting on at any time, you can identify 3 things in your life that you were about. If you could answer, if I asked you, what was that? Could you answer it? Right? If you can't do it, just start with one. Start with one thing. And I'll give you three of mine, right? Mine is faith, family, and my work. All right, now it seems broad, so I'll dive down a little bit into it. Faith, family, and work in that order. So my faith is above me. That means I realize I'm not God. When I first had realization that there was one, I found out also at the same moment that I was not him. And when I have that faith, that means I can operate and I can realize I have enough humility that I can still be strong where I'm at and confident and go have a great ego, a good ego in a place that I'm walking into, because you got to have it in this game, right? And walking in this life, you got to walk with a confident stride. But at the same time, I don't know it all. So I know I'm in a place where I can learn from you. I know I'm in a place where I can learn from somebody else, or somebody who's been there and might have a little different perspective than me, right? It's a huge deal. It's above my family. This is a big deal. My family comes second, my work is third. Why is that? Because my family is above my work. My work is for my family. My family is for my faith. It falls in order in that line on purpose. And I'll tell you one reason I went into the area that I did is because I didn't want to sacrifice my family for my work. I love it. I love what I do right now because I can be close to you guys. And I don't have to go back. I don't have to go to the hotel with you. I don't have to go to meetings. I don't have to stay up late at all and coach. I don't have to break down film and do nothing of that. Okay? I can go home and sleep in the bed with my wife and try to get some action. And it's amazing. Okay? Amazing. Megan, she's like, 2 kids, that's it, I'm done. I'm like, babe, I'm cool just seeing how far this thing goes. Babe, okay? What it is. All right. Know what you're about. Powerful. And if you guys don't have it, you got notes. Just start brainstorming for me, please. Start writing down, like, what am I about? And then what does that mean exactly? Because if you write them down, something starts happening. It's like writing down the goals, right? Now I start got to hold myself accountable to these things. So that's a big deal. Number 2 is be on the move, all right? This is a big deal to me, okay? Strength, the whole definition of masculinity, the beauty of masculinity is strength in action. Guys, we're supposed to be movers. There's times where we rest. There's times we got to rest our soul and be good and recoup. But we are supposed to be movers. All right, and this is the tough thing. There's a picture of a guy who just sits on the couch all day long and does nothing. And I'll tell you what's tough over this last year is when you tell people they can't work, especially when we got so much of our nation who lives paycheck to paycheck. They don't have $400 in the bank for an emergency, and all of a sudden you got to tell people that they can't work. I'm like, you start putting people in a whole bigger bind. All right, so all of a sudden we have a lot of different problems. Divorce skyrockets, depression skyrockets, suicide skyrockets, crime skyrockets. Some crazy things start happening, right? People get desperate places. But the thing is, what's so frustrating about a guy that's not on the move is he communicates something to people around him. You guys got to realize that you might not be saying anything, but your body can communicate a whole lot of things. And when a guy sits and does nothing for himself, for the family around him, he communicates things about it that is super frustrating. And what's tough about me is I get it when people are turned off by God. I get it. I totally understand. Because when a guy or something happens and he sits and does nothing, he's actually communicating that I'm not for you. If I sit in my place, I'm communicating with my body. So if I have my wife and I sit on the couch, don't go hustle at work, and I don't go after and try to provide for my family, or I don't go attack her when I come home, like, give me some love, right? If I don't do that, I don't pursue her, I communicate that I'm not for her. And so I get when people are turned off by God, because if we're supposed to be the image bearers of that, and a guy is not communicating that I'm for you, and in his lack of action, you communicate in the same way that God is not for you. That's a super frustrating place to be. But instead, we fight against that, and we go forward. We're acting. We're in action. Man, in action all the time. I'm always pursuing something. I'm always going after something. Why? Because I'm the leader. I'm the one who's called into this, right? I'm going to do that. If I'm always moving and in that active place, I start communicating. I am for you. God is for you. He is on the move. Absolutely. All right, when you start doing those things, that's why a guy who's not is so frustrating. It's killer. It gets killer to a room. We just sit here and do nothing, right? That's why I love, that's what we always have. We finish up playing, we finish up going over our meetings, we're like, get to work, let's get to practice. Let's go get it to work. That's my favorite thing about being conditioned as an athlete, where I'm at right now. We are made to destroy this world way bigger than the average person in an insane way. I loved it because when I decided I wanted to go into finance, I'm like, what's the average study time for the test to get licensed up to do this? So like 60 days? All right, give me 30. I set the test date, and I nailed them all out. I basically locked myself in the room. I drank a crap load of coffee and bang, and just, didn't sleep for anything, okay? But I went and nailed it on purpose because that's what we're made to do. If you can get the chalkboard stuff in an O-line room, you can get anything you want out in the corporate area. It's the best thing in the world because we're made to go into these dark times, confusing times. And you get it, if you can get it and just learn the language, no problem. You can learn the playbook, you can do anything. That's easy. I love it. All right, be on the move. What's up? Come on, baby. You all right? Is that you? No. All right. Number 3, expect hard times. This is a big one. Winter always comes back. Bad times always comes back. And the tough thing about this last year, what really was evident to me, people don't prepare for hard times. They just don't do it. And so I was telling one of my guys got a new O-line job in the league, just talked on the phone last night, and I was just telling him, everybody's got to work on this, but I was telling him, it's like 6 months cash in the bank, put the rest to work. If you got all your debt paid off, 6 months cash in the bank, put the rest to work. That was it. Right? And the thing is, that 6 months cash in the bank, what that is personal insurance. Like in case something goes wrong with me, I lose a job, some bad health scare, whatever happens, something, I got money accessible to me right now. Always. 6 month expenses. So if I'm spending 10 grand a month, I got 60 grand in the bank right now. Right? And that's on purpose. Not everybody can do that. But when you build up these places, you get out of debt, you get to these places, what you're doing is you're building for hard times. You're expecting winter to come back. Why do I buy hats in the winter? Because I know the sun's coming back in the summer. Right? I buy it cheap because I'm going to sell it to you when you're all of a sudden, you're just thinking about the hat now, right? Like, crap, I should have bought that hat. Hey man, I'll buy this for $10, but I'll sell it to you for 30. You're like, dang, I really need that. Okay, give me the hat. I'm like, I just made $20 off you, right? And so these are things that are huge because people don't have the money in the bank. They didn't build up these things. The government doesn't want to teach us things. All these things are not necessarily available in school coming out before college, right? And so it's on us as men to go find these things and to understand them. Find people out that have been there. Find good mentors in our life that we can actively learn from in a big way. But when we expect these hard times, we can find the opportunities that come in them. I can't tell you how many times the market dropped 30% at its low last March. Okay? So that means if you had $1 million in the market, just by the S&P 500, $1 million turned into 700,000. That sucks to see. I promise you, I've seen it with my own money, okay? But the problem, and I don't know about you guys, but I've heard time and again, when that happens, you always hear somebody, some old dude comes in and you're like, man, wish I had some money to put some money in the market right now. It'd be a pretty good time to buy. It's pretty cheap. Yeah, it would be. You got money? Did you save up for hard times? You save up? You put some money away for winter? No, I didn't do that. Well, you see the opportunity. If you would have saved up, you would have hit this opportunity. Because I'll tell you right now, what's really neat is I can call my people. Everybody got hit by money in the market, and I call them. I go, through 2019, the average one-year bounce back return off a bear market down in the S&P 500 was 41%. 41%. So if I'm projecting a conservative 6% for somebody growth in their money, right? That's huge. So I call all my buddies, like a lot of my clients are buddies, okay? If I call all these guys up, make sure everybody's good, make sure they got 6 months cash in the bank, always, maybe even a little more because the shutdown's crazy, right? And I say, all right, what you got? Right now, we got a massive discount. And if that historical average is anything, I want a piece of that. And so anybody that did it, had that extra and was prepared for winter, saw massive growth in that opportunity. And what happened is, since then, we've seen almost 80% growth in the market.
Bitcoin.
That's insane. Crazy, Bitcoin, man. All right, crazy. We talk about that. But this is just off the market. It's not even trying to beat it. But the whole point of sharing that is, guys, if we're not prepared for these times, we can't take advantage of the opportunities when they show up. You know what I'm saying? The same when a guy gets hurt, we can't step in. I'm not prepared for the opportunity to go talk to coach and hopefully leave an impact on the room where I can start and have a massive return on the other end. This is huge. All right, number 4. Last point here. Speak to your problems. Speak to your problems. Power of life and death is in the tongue. We got the ability to build people up, or we can kill them with our mouths. And all you guys, I know you guys got stories that somehow somebody cut you deep somewhere. I love talking to young couples before they get married, because I'm like, I tell them, go to premarital counseling. Because at some point, it's a matter of time before you say something that cuts that other person real deep. Because we're human, right? I can't put my full faith in you. I have to put my full faith in the guy upstairs. If I put my full faith in you, ultimately you're going to say something that cuts deep, or I'm going to do the same thing to you. And all of a sudden our faith crumbles because of it. It's a tough place, right? We do this. We're human. We're not perfect. I'm going to say something that takes you off, so I need you to hold me accountable to that. The tough thing is we don't realize how powerful we are when we're able to speak into a place. I don't know about you guys. I love the very first verses of Genesis when just a spirit's hovering over the empty of the earth, and it talks about, and then God spoke. And the thing is, we're made in we're made in His image. We're made to speak in those dark times. We're made to speak in those situations where it might be confusing to our family. It might be confusing to our team. It might be confusing to me. And if I don't have a powerful voice in my life, I can't speak in a powerful way to other people. This is huge. I'm going to tell you guys, if you fill yourself up with good things, you're going to have a tongue that delivers power. Have you guys ever hear somebody just rattle off, you're like, what is that dude drinking? Because I'm like, I want some of that. Just everything gold comes out of his mouth. And like I have people like that in my life where I can't say anything because I just want more of it. But you have that ability to have, you drink from that cup, man. All of a sudden, you can deliver some straight up power in that locker room, in your life, in your personal life. You can speak to yourself in a powerful way. You can speak to your marriage in a powerful way if that ever happens, right? You can speak to your family in a powerful way. I've seen it in my own family in big ways, I promise. Where we had some massive cracks that turned to craters when we lost somebody we loved in a big way. Right? But I've seen it come back because I filled myself up with good, realized some stupid things that I've done, even apologized for that, and I've seen relationships flip, including my older brother, which I didn't think was possible, right? But I've seen it because I had to apologize for certain, had a piece of revelation, but all of a sudden the ability for me to speak into a situation came in a huge way. And so I'll leave you with this story. Baby girl Grace. God gave me a girl first because he knew I was all ogre and meathead and just a slobbering fool a lot of the times, okay? He gave me this girl because he was like, bro, I need to bring that testosterone down a little bit. Like, you ever hear about guys getting on like T-pills or taking the testosterone shots of the pellets or something? Every time a friend comes up with that, my wife is like, no, you're never doing that. So you have enough, okay? I love, because I sit here and I'll scream at Grace. I'm like, Grace, get over here. She loves me chasing her. She'll scream, run around the room, get over here. People think I'm screaming at my kids, right? And she's just laughing, running off. It's hilarious. But it was cool. So I've had lots of surgery since I've been done playing. And so I had another shoulder surgery. This was a couple of years ago. But I went and got my shoulder cleaned out. Some different things there, and I'm coming at I'm getting ahead of myself. There was why this speak to your problems is so big, right? Because when I was consuming all these good things, I remember I heard a message at church right now, and it was all about what are you speaking? Like, what are you speaking, right? What are you saying? And I just decided one day, I don't know why, I was just like, I'm going to start talking to Grace. This is while she still had her crib. She was talking, but she still had her crib, little baby bed. I said, I'm just going to start talking to her. So I started talking to her at night. And we put her down. I just started telling her, I'm like, tell me you're strong. And she was like, I'm strong. I'm like, tell me you're tough. She was, I'm tough. Tell me you're beautiful. I'm beautiful. And you're smart. I'm smart. Daddy loves you. Daddy loves you. Mommy loves you. God loves you. Like all these, I wanted words of affirmation, right? I wanted these kinds of, I didn't even know what to say, but I wanted to know these powerful words, okay? And so this started happening. We did a lot. Sometimes she just laugh about it, and sometimes she just copy me and whatever. There was nothing good. But this went on for a little bit. Well, I had to get this surgery on my shoulder, and I got the surgery, and I'm coming out of anesthesia, so I'm kind of loopy, right? And I'm laying in the bed, and Megan and Grace are sitting here. This is before Hank. They're sitting here, and I could hear Grace going, I'm like, what's wrong with him? And Megan goes, well, doctor fixed his shoulder. He's just waking up. He's just in a little pain right now. He just doesn't feel good. She goes, can I lay with him? And I'm like, come over here. And I gesture her over. She comes, lays in the bed with me, and she leans into my ear and she says, Daddy, you're so strong. You want to talk about something that brains you in the moment? Like brains my soul right there, me as a father, me as a man. And it was just like, I had this moment where God was like, yes, keep doing it. This is the principle I've given you. Keep walking in that. Keep speaking into the people around you. Keep speaking into your family. And you watch what comes back to you, I promise. It just branded me all of a sudden as a man. And I will never forget that moment because all of a sudden, this girl was speaking to me at 4 years old. Speaking to me. I'm 38 right now, speaking to a 36-year-old man, a father telling him what he's about. I'm like, I get chills because of it. I'm here to tell you guys right now, if we don't step into these places as a man that we're supposed to be stepping into, we're going to be staying a boy the rest of our lives. I don't want to challenge you guys coming out of here. Where are you still being a boy? Where is it in your life? Is it with your parents? Right? Is it with other people, your teammates? Is it how we're going, walking into this situation? I want you to walk in with your chest out, strong, big time, all right? But where are we still sticking in this place where we're a boy and God's got us calling to a whole different place above us? You guys feel what I'm talking about right now? This is huge. And you guys start realizing these places, you start stepping into these places even when you don't know what to do. You don't know what's going to go on. I promise you watch explosions start happening in your life in a big, big way. In football and out of football. In your family, out of family. In you and out of you. I promise. Big things are going to start happening. I'm so thankful for you guys. I got something before we get out of here. This is my hat. This is my brand. I like this. It's cool. It's a shield for protector because I'm a protector, man. I'll beat somebody up that won't touch my family. I don't want to be like, thou shalt not kill. I don't want to do that. I promise he's not going to show up in the form that I found him in when I dragged him to the police station, okay? But I wanted to hat. I appreciate you guys coming, but I want to give this to you guys. I got a lot of good attention from you, so I appreciate it. Some love. What's your name? Eric Evans. That's my nephew's name, man. Evan. Come on, man. That's what it is. Look, I'm thankful for you guys. Thank you so much for having me right now. I have a bunch of cards I brought with me. So if you guys want my information, you can follow me on social, DM me, whatever. Like I want to be a wealth for you guys in a big way. I'm not just talking financial. I'm talking about like life. You guys got problems? Come at me.